Now before I talk about this lens from TTArtisan, can you guys let me know how this video looks down in the comment section? I'm actually using the Canon R3 for the first time for video. It's basically straight out of the box. It's shooting 6K RAW with eye tracking or face tracking, whatever it is, and that's it basically. I've just left it in standard profile, and the B cam is the Canon R5. I want to see if the actual R3 can do a good job at shooting these type of videos instead of my C70. So let me know down in the comment section. Now this lens has been sent to me obviously by TTArtisan. This is a 21mm f1.5, not f1.4. Pretty wide angle lens for Leica M mount. Because it's Leica M mount, that means this lens can be adapted to any mirrorless camera as well, with an adapter like this. And this is actually one from TTArtisan. I'll put a list down below of some of the adapters they sell. These are probably some of the best quality adapters I've found on the market, and this one's actually for Leica M mount to Canon R or RF mount, because my R3 is RF mount, the R5, the C70 and the red Komodo, and the new red Raptor is the same mount. So these adapters are really nice for that mount if you want to mount a Leica M mount lens to it. Now let's talk about the lens, and I'll quickly go through what's in the box. Obviously you get the lens and you get a couple of accessories actually, which is quite nice. So that's the 21mm f1.5 lens with a metal lens cap or hood cap because it goes on the hood. The hood's also metal as well. It's actually a really nice cap that goes on. It locks on really nice and snug. It's got a nice tight fit. So that's quite a nice feature. Then you've also got this, which is actually a lens cap. So what you can do is you can unscrew the hood like that, you see, and then that just goes on and it locks on. And there's a little tiny release pin there and it pulls off. It's quite a tight fit actually, but again, that's metal. The reason it's like that is, if I put the box out of the way, is you have this adapter because the thread on the front of the lens is not on the inside, it's actually on the outside. So you can't actually get a filter to fit it. So you put this adapter on like that. So that means you can attach a normal filter, basically a screw-on filter, which also means you can use this lens for video, which is quite a nice accessory to have with this lens, because a lot of super wide angle lenses don't come with accessories to put filters on. But as you can see, that front element does bulge out quite a bit. To give you an idea of how compact this 21mm f1.5 lens from TTArtisan is, this is my Voigtlander 21mm f1.4. They're both Leica M mount lenses, and you can actually see the difference in size. There's a big difference in size. The Voigtlander is $1,049 in the US, and the TTArtisan is $429 in the US. So it's less than half the price. Be interesting to do a comparison between these two. If you want me to do a comparison between these two lenses, let me know down in the comment section and I'll do a video comparing these two lenses and basically show you which is the best value for money. The main difference between these two lenses for me is the close focusing distance. The actual Voigtlander goes down to half a meter, 50 centimeters. The TTArtisan, like most Leica mount lenses, is 0.7 meters or 70 centimeters close focusing distance. 20 centimeters makes a big difference between these two lenses. But everything else, I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section if you want me to do a side-by-side comparison of these two lenses. So let's talk about this lens from TTArtisan. Obviously it's a 21mm and its fastest aperture is f1.5. At the front of the lens, you've got this shallow removable, as I showed you earlier, lens hood. And if you look at the front of the lens hood, there's a cutout here for when you're using the rangefinder on your Leica camera. It won't block up too much of the actual view, which is quite a nice feature. Below that, you've got your front aperture ring, which is quite nice. Like many Leica lenses, the aperture ring's at the front, and it goes from f1.5 all the way up to f16, and it's half stop clicks as well. And it's quite a nice click as well. You'll hear it. It's a little bit loud, but it's not too bad. But it's a nice gentle click as well. And like I said, it goes half stops. So then you have your focus ring, which goes from your closest focusing distance, which is 0.7 meters, 70 centimeters, to infinity. And it has a nice hard stop at infinity, and it's a genuine infinity. Unlike some other lenses, it's infinity plus a little bit, so you've got to dial it back a little bit. This isn't. You can whack it straight into infinity, and it's infinity, basically, which is really nice, because this is quite a wide angle lens. The focus is very smooth. I've used it a little bit, and it hasn't loosened up. It's got a little bit of tightness to it, but not over tight. It's a very nice smooth focus. At the bottom of the focus, you actually got a focus port, or focus tab, some people call them, which makes it very easy to find out where your focus point is, and it makes it easier to focus as well. Then at the back, you have your lens mount, which is all metal, and you have an adjustable ring. So if you do find your lens is not calibrated properly. They do supply a screwdriver and you can calibrate it yourself. I've never had a problem with TTArtisan lenses. Some other brands I won't mention, I have had huge problems with focusing. So TTArtisan always seem to be very well calibrated. So if you're using this lens for street photography, you can set it at 1.5 meters and say you're shooting at f8, and everything from just under a meter to 5 meters will be in focus. I'm not sure this is for me for street photography. My normal street photography lens is my 28mm Summicron. I absolutely love this lens. And yes, there will be a video coming in the next couple of weeks on this lens. People have asking me all the time, can I do a review on this lens? Because I talk about it all the time and I've never reviewed it. I've owned this for years. So we'll be doing a video in the next few weeks on this lens of what I think of it and if it's worth the money after owning this lens for quite a few years. As you can see, that lens looks incredibly good on the M6. It's a nice compact lens, especially for being so wide and such a fast aperture. Balances really well on the M6 too. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's not over heavy. Definitely doesn't feel as big as this lens. This lens feels absolutely huge on an M camera. This lens does fit really well. Now, because it's a 21mm, you're not going to get frame lines, especially on a film camera. You'll have to use a viewfinder, which goes on the hot shoe. If you're using a digital Leica, you can use the EVF, like the M240, M246, M10, even the M11. You can purchase this EVF, which you'll have to use if you want to frame your shot correctly, or you can use the live view on the back of the camera on the M10P or the M10 or M11. Yes, got live view as well. Trying to frame up an image through the viewfinder is not that good because it is very wide, and you will either be cutting something off or adding something into your picture. So that would be one drawback of getting a 21mm, especially for a film Leica. So if you guys know of any rangefinder cameras that have 21mm frame lines, let me know down in the comment section. I'd really like to get my hands on that camera if there is one, and actually review it with this lens, because I think it would make a nice combo, and having frame lines on a rangefinder is really nice. I don't personally like using these EVFs. I think it takes away from the experience of using a rangefinder, but it's a necessity with Leica cameras, especially if you're shooting a 21mm, you don't have frame lines on any of the Leica digital cameras. So now I'm going to share some photos in a slideshow, obviously taken with the 21mm f1.5 from TTArtisan. The camera I used was the M10P. Because I couldn't find a 21mm viewfinder for the M6 at an affordable price, I just decided to give up with that. So I used the M10P live view and the EVF. So all of the photos were shot with the M10P and they were standard JPEGs. If you'd like to download some of the photos, there will be a link to a Dropbox folder down in the description. You can head over there and you can download some of the photos and check them out for yourself. Then after the slideshow, I'll let you know what I think about the lens and if I recommend it. So as you can see from the photos in the slideshow, this lens produces some nice sharp contrasty images, especially when it's on the M10P. I really would have liked to have tried this on a film camera, but sadly, like I said, I couldn't get a 21mm viewfinder at an affordable price. The feel of the lens on an M body is nice. It's got a nice weight to it. It's a very comfortable lens. It feels like a slightly longer version of my Summicron. The focus is very easy to control, especially with the paw underneath here. The only thing I would say I didn't like is the hood. It's a very shallow hood. If I can show you on that camera there, it doesn't really do anything, to be truthful. Because of the way the lens is, if you look at the front of that lens, you see there's a bulge in it. Because it bulges out, it catches the light. You can see from this photo here, if you look in the bottom right hand corner, I just caught the sun at the wrong angle and the image has gone completely weird in the bottom corner. And then I turned the camera slightly away from the sun and it looks perfect. So you do have to be careful with a lens like this, especially when the lens element bulges out so much with such a small, ridiculous lens hood, which really doesn't do a lot. I think it's just there for cosmetic look, to be truthful. I would prefer if they made the lens hood slightly deeper, and then that way you wouldn't have to worry too much about the sun or getting direct sun on the front of the lens. But apart from that, I can't find anything else wrong with it. I really enjoyed using this lens on the M10P. Now for me, my Leica cameras are my personal cameras. They're what I use when I go out and shoot, film or digital, whichever one I take. It's just for me to go out and enjoy the experience of shooting and taking photos. Now a lens has to add to that experience. If it takes away from that experience, I won't use the lens. I don't care what lens it is, I won't use it. This lens adds to the experience. It's a really nice lens. It balances really well, especially on the M10P. The focus tab is in the right place. Everything about the lens is designed right to work with a Leica camera. The actual lens hood doesn't block much of the viewfinder, but it doesn't stop much of the side light or lens flares hitting it, so it could be slightly deeper. The aperture on the front is very smooth and very easy to control. The images that it produces on the M10P are really good. They have a nice sharpness to them. They have a nice natural look as well. They look really nice. I'm very happy with the quality of the photos that you get from a lens that costs less than $500 and especially a wide angle fast aperture lens. I don't think you can go wrong with this lens. I do really recommend this if you're looking for a wide angle lens and you want a fast aperture and you don't want to spend too much. Go for the TTArtisan 21mm f1.5. It's a really nice lens to use. Now, if you want me to compare this lens with my Voigtlander f1.4, let me know down in the comment section and I'll do a quick video and take a few photos side by side so you guys can see how these two lenses perform against each other. Now, if you want to download the photos from the slideshow, there is a link to a Dropbox folder down below in the description. And don't forget, in a few weeks, I will finally put a review up on my 28mm Summicron f2 lens. I'll talk about what I think of the lens after owning it for a few years and why it's my favorite lens. So that's it for this video. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. And as always, thank you so much for watching.